Alright, so this is part 3 of our fall tumbler tutorial. This is where we left off last time. You can see we added some glitter on top of our coffee swirl. Today, I want to seal up this glitter, but then also use that tacky glue to add some of these leaves and maybe some gold flakes in there. So this is my Mod Podge. And I am going to seal this glitter in place so it won't move around on us. And then also we'll use that as our glue for those little chunky leaves we have there. Ooh, there's a chunk right there. All right. So when I seal my glitter, I just pat it. Pat it with the foam brush. There are some bubbles, so you have to be careful not to get too many, and you can just flatten them out by rubbing on it. Just like this. And the great news is this works really well, this glue, so it kind of really does stay in place. You'll get some glitter falling off as you do it, but it really is nice. I'm kind of taking mental note of any of like the really bald spots down here because that's where I'm going to add those leaves. And that is a chunk I don't want to keep. Alright, so let me get around this bottom part. There we go. Nice. Okay. That looks pretty even to me. We got a little glitter shedding going on, but that's okay. That's why we have the white paper there. And for this part, because it is an ombre, I'm kind of just going to brush it up. So you will get some of that fading out, basically, as we go to the top. So we just keep going around. Making sure that this is a pretty smooth layer, especially because it is like the top coat. Now tonight we're not going to do epoxy again because we're adding a little bit more of the decals on here. Tomorrow I'm hoping to do the epoxy. If everything dries and it looks how we want it to, then we should be able to epoxy. Hopefully our final coat, but let's see how this turns out. So I'm just kind of going up and over, making sure I got all the pieces in place where I want them. Looks pretty good. Alright, now around the top, because there's not glitter up there, I'm just going to kind of wipe this down. You won't really see it under the epoxy, but I like to make sure, so. Just kind of like that. So there's not a harsh line of that Mod Podge. Nice. Okay. So now here our leaves are, and I am going to put down another white paper so I can collect my extra leaves as they fall. Alright, these are really cute. Like I said last time, these are from the Glitter Guy. If you haven't checked out their website, you should probably do that. They really have like everything you could ever want as far as glitter goes. Okay, so the goal with the leaves is to see the first layer of glitter through it. So the white areas that are still wet, I definitely want to see some of those between these leaves. And I'm going to be heavy at the bottom again, kind of ombre this, but definitely want to be able to see some. And I am going to slowly use my fingers to help me kind of get the look I'm going for here. Now you'll notice when you're working with chunky glitter that not all of it lays flat, and I'll show you kind of my trick for that once we get that far. This needs a lot more on the bottom. Kind of thin it out. And once it dries, we'll really be able to tell if we did a good job with these leaves or if we're gonna need a little bit more. Or fix up any spots that look sparse. Okay, I'm actually really liking that, I think. I see a little bit of glue up here I want to get rid of. Okay. Maybe just a little more. And then I'm going to add some extra to the bottom. So what I do once I have the glitter in place where I want it is I actually pat it down with my finger. And there's going to be a lot of loose pieces when you're working with the chunky glitter like this. But that's okay because you can always go back and add more if you feel like you have spots that are too thin. But it's important that this lays flat, at least as flat as possible, because you really don't want it to stick up through the epoxy layer that we're going to be putting on top of this. So I just pat, pat, pat. And I'm seeing as I'm doing that, this rim here was losing a lot. So I'll just try to place a couple more on there. And really I could go back with the flakes, the gold flakes, in those spots too. Kind of press it like that. Alright, I don't want to mess with it too terribly much. That looks pretty good. Those bald spots down there. Alright. I think that might look good. Alright, see?